Hello and welcome to another Destiny Council gameplay video. I'm here today, joined by Brian.
Hey guys.
We're going to be looking at Rey Ezra Maz versus Sabine Ezra. It's an interesting matchup. I will be playing Rey Ezra and Maz. So some of the strengths of the deck: it ramps very well, controls your opponent very well, and then abuses some high-powered dice using Maz. So in this matchup, it kind of has a weakness that it can't deal early damage, and Sabine Ezra doesn't have much health, and that's typically its weakness. But you can't take advantage of that. But what I can try to do is to control his resources and control his dice when I get the chance.
Yeah, and I'd say opposite to the Rey Ezra Maz, the Sabine Ezra has a lot of front loaded damage with Sabine. The fact that you can get in your dice before they can do any removal options leads to some explosive kind of Django Veers esque type play where you roll out, you hit a bunch of damage, and your opponent can't react. And so I'm trying to get out, some ambush upgrades to get that rolling, as well as using Ezra to get out some resource ramp early. Typically, that's the struggle with this deck is getting resources. You only start with you never really want to use Sabine's dice for resources
Mm-hmm.
because you're so low health. You need to put out that damage to get kind of kill a character to kind of get you closer to that health pool range.
Mm-hmm. But on top of that, Ezra is pretty good at generating resources. So
Yes, so I'm hoping I can get some resources or some specials. That'll be like a really icing on the cake for this deck. When you can get that ramp going and the Sabine deck, you really take over games.
mm-hmm. Well, may as well get going.
Well, let's jump in.
So, Rey Ezra Maz, what I'm looking for in my starting hand is almost always two cost action cheats so that you can get the instant steal of a resource. You play the cheat on Rey, roll out Ezra, roll out Maz, focus to the special, and then resolve. It can be a very powerful swing at the beginning of the game. You essentially start with 3, your opponent starts with 1. Um,
I mean, very similar. I'm also looking for the two cost ambush upgrades.
mm-hmm,
Typically, you want to get them into your graveyard so that when you roll in Sabine, you get that free action cheat. Um, so you don't really want to have to play it onto Sabine, but I'm also worried right here that John's going to steal a resource before he
mm-hmm,
can, set up that discard play. So things I'd be looking for are like smuggling, where I could discard the card and get a resource, or even maybe a scavenge.
mm-hmm.
So I'm also playing on the Starship Graveyard, the fancy alternate art, just so you know.
Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting match. Um,
I'm really looking to kill
second,
either Ezra.
I won't go away.
I'm looking to kill Ezra here or Maz early before he can get his ramp going. And I'm trying to make it more tempting for him to go after Ezra first instead of Sabine.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking to basically keep Maz and Rey alive together for as long as possible. As long as I have those two, I'm going to be able to guarantee the die size on the cards I want. I'm also looking for a caution for that early shielding to prevent this being damaged. And I really just want to control your resources as much as possible. If I can keep you off of the 2, 3 upgrades, Sabine, I have a chance of surviving your ambush plays. So we're getting close to getting started here. So do you think if you win the roll off, what battlefield do you take?
It's a tough one because basically the choice is pretty bad for me either way. If I choose my battlefield, you get to kind of recur some of your action cheats, and if I choose your battlefield, I get real no benefit from it. Whereas you, well, I guess we both get the Ezra special, but later in the game, I don't want you focusing or for force throw or mind probe.
hmm So I believe I end up winning the roll off there, and I do take my own battlefield. Um, I do this because I believe I have a 2 cost cheat in my hand, so it's really important to me that I prevent you from playing that 2 cost upgrade. So I'm looking for the resource denial here. Um, One of my best ways to prevent you from dealing damage is to prevent you from having resources. So I go ahead, I activate Ezra, activate Maz, resolve a focus to steal one of his resources, and I am showing still an additional special. So the potential for the double steal here is very real.
So I'm rolling in here hoping for a special of my own. Unfortunately, I get blank and a +2, but that +2 could be dangerous if I roll out some damage with Sabine.
Hmm. Definitely always scary to see that there. Go ahead and steal the other resource. So that's basically a perfect start for me. That's what allows this deck to survive early game, is to just prevent my opponent's ramp. But you did get that smuggling play there, so.
Smuggling into a holdout is real key. If I have a truce here, you could be in for some serious trouble.
Hmm.
Although the downside to truce here early is putting you at that 3 resource mark, or 4 resources showing. So that could be an early mind probe, perhaps.
Hmm. So I have to think here about what I'm going to do. I believe I'm holding a deal 44 here. So I go ahead and take the resource, hoping that if you roll in, I can get that free removal.
Luckily, you do take that resource, though,
Hmm.
right?
You're gonna go ahead and truce and play that holdout while activating Sabine. And
So
I'm scared.
I'm like, here we go. Got that +2 showing. I need at least I get 1 damage showing, and look at this roll here. Now this is the type of roll you see it and you just like, huh. Well then, this changes how I'm playing this game. I guess I'll kill that character right now. So
Yeah, ridiculous. And that's just the real threat with Sabine um, Ezra. I mean, just a lot of damage on its dice. It's not the best odds. It's not gonna have every game, but it's really good when it goes off.
I will say the one saving grace is that you did get full value out of Maz this turn. You
Hmm.
were able to focus to the Ezra special and get a resource.
Hmm.
So you're able to get 3 additional resources plus the truce. So you have, 5 resources and upgrades showing.
Hmm.
I did kill a character, but you kind of replaced your dice with some pretty sick upgrades.
Yeah,
So I'm definitely not out of the woods yet, but to say that I'm in a bad spot is not true. I'm pretty
right.
happy right now.
Well, the biggest thing for me is I've lost my dice guarantee. Moz really helps just make sure that you hit the sides that you need. Now I'm going to be having to rely on the battlefield.
Yeah, and at this
Um,
point, it's your choice that you took the battlefield comes into huge play here.
mhm,
I think if we had been on Starship Graveyard, this game probably would have been different.
mhm.
Um, but we'll see here how it goes for round 2. So right now, I'm thinking, okay, um, go after Ray before she gets redeploys. Steal some resources before you can play a mind probe, maybe. No, no focus or no special or disrupt, but I do get a resource, which
Mhm.
I'm happy about.
But no damage as well. It really does feel strong to roll out that +2 on Ezra. Um, I go ahead and roll the Ezra. I am just hoping to threaten the resource denial, really. Um, Need to keep him off, keep him on that one upgrade.
And at this point, I'm trying to get those ambush upgrades into my discard pile. Um, but showing those 2 dice, getting them off the board for countering any kind of double cross play, really, I think is what I was going for here.
Mhm.
You sitting there with 4 resources, and I don't think I'm able to cheat in Sabine this turn, so I'm scared of the potential double cross or negotiate play.
Mhm. Double cross, obviously relying on the yellow character dice, so
Hmm.
removing Ezra's strong play there. Um, so I'm really deciding which upgrade I want to play from my hand. Um, it's always a hard choice, especially the decision between like Mind Probe or Force Throw, which is going to be better early on in this game. I can't quite see what I have in my hand, um, but looks like I go ahead and pass. So I likely have a cheat, and I want to.
So at this point, I'm thinking he's gonna cheat and force throw in. So I'm hoping I don't roll, too well. I do hit that triple disrupt, and I'm thinking that it's gonna go right back in my face.
Mhm. So I do use my one override for the holdout, and then play the Force Throw naturally. Definitely looking for that Force Throw here. So that's definitely why I chose to pass. I didn't want him to have a chance to like electroshock the Force Throw.
Right. And luckily you rolled naturally. I think obviously if you hadn't, you probably would have claimed
Hmm.
and probably thrown anyways. But this allows you to utilize your other dice as well.
Hmm. Definitely a big swing there.
So I'm thinking I probably just re-roll and hope for the best here. Taking that resource could be a good option. Um, but I also have the ability to claim and steal a resource too. So keeping that
Hmm.
die out isn't a bad choice.
Go for that reroll. Doesn't look like you hit much of
I got
anything.
triple disrupt again and a blank. So not really happy about that one.
Hmm. Go for the reroll. Hit another
Plus,
modifier side. I was really hoping for that 1 in 3 odds,
yeah.
but not gonna
Well,
happen.
I'm thinking if you roll that 3 for 1, I'm probably just gonna claim for the resource steal.
Hmm.
So I'm not terribly worried about the odds here, and it looks like I roll into damage here.
Hmm.
I think that's the 2 or 3, and then a 1 on Ezra.
Pretty solid.
At some, I'm also kind of sad because I really wanted to steal that resource with Ezra, but put it leaving damage out there is also pretty bad because I see you've got force throw and deal 44. I want to put that pressure on.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, you do hit that 3 for 1 side,
But I did. I went ahead and re-rolled the holdout as well this time. So could have kept that +2, but
and
it
you got
was.
a resource showing, so there's no hope of disrupting. So I'm probably just gonna take the damage here.
Mhm. It's gonna put your Sabine in very dangerous uh, kill range. Um, and it really is an explosive matchup. Both of us have very reliable cheats and relatively low HP characters
I'd
at
say we
this
both
point.
had pretty good starts. Obviously my rolls were better, but you getting, I think what 7 resources at the first turn,
Hmm.
pretty set you up for some pretty good upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, Sabine, um, Ezra can just do that, but I really all I care about is resources early. I need to ramp. I need to get more dice on the board because my character dice can't do it, and that's what I did. So,
I'm pretty scared here with Sabine at 2.
as you should be.
um, I'm, I mean, basically, if you look at the board state, you have a Rey with 3 upgrades, and I have just a holdout blaster. So if Sabine dies here, it's just going to be Ezra with a holdout blaster versus a souped up Rey and an Ezra.
Hmm.
So I'm in real bad shape here. I need to get that kill onto Rey fast. Um, ideally, back in the before the erratas, there's those plays where you could overwrite a holdout here,
Hmm.
activate, and overwrite again,
Hmm.
so you get that free action cheat. I think that's what really hurt this deck because you're not able to do that anymore. So right here, I have to take the safe play and take the second chance,
Hmm.
hoping that I can let her survive and hopefully kill Ray this turn. The downside though is I think fourth throw on the table is just so strong.
I try to play
I'm pretty
Funeral
sure
Pyre
funeral
here.
pyre coming, and
Yep.
that's really like it almost seals the deal I think for this game. But I'm just trying to get that damage out here. Roll out Sabine, or sorry, Ezra, and then I'm gonna try to get some damage here,
Hmm.
hoping to kill that Ray and at least get rid of that deal 44.
Hmm.
But force throw is really big against huge characters, and you roll the special again here.
So I do have my own luck on my dice. I'm not quite rolling 9 damage turn 1, but I am rolling 2 force throw specials in a row.
I mean, outside of that turn 1, like you've done really well controlling my dice and limiting my resource gain, which has been huge. Um, and so you go ahead and pop my second chance. And so things aren't looking too good. I did get 2 resources from Ezra, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to play that holdout blaster for an action cheat here. Um, Next, I could do is that 8, which would be insane.
Hmm.
Hoping for at least 5 here. You know, 5 would pretty much put me back in this game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's gonna be hard for Ezra even with the 2
And then this
redeploys.
is the famous roll where I get the 3 damage and the 3 disrupt. So puts me in this really bad situation where no matter what, you're able to utilize that force throw for 3 damage.
Hmm.
So, I'll take my losses. I take the 3 damage, and you throw that 3 damage right back in my face.
Yeah,
So
that's the hazard of high sides.
at this point, I'm like, man, uh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to live till next turn, but you don't have too much necessarily going for you. So I'm digging for another second chance back on top
Hmm.
here. But unfortunately, I have used my overwrite for the turn.
Yeah, you started right out with that second chance override. So another debuff to the Sabine decks not being able to play second chance after they've overwritten. Um, I go ahead and decide to roll Ezra. I left him earlier because of the potential for a kill. I wanted to be able to make use of the redeploys. At this point, you can't really
Right.
kill Rey.
Unless I re-roll into miracle 2-for-1.
Hmm.
But I take that shield. I'm also thinking you're not going to be able to kill her this turn. Um, Hopefully. It's 3 damage, which isn't completely out of the question.
Hmm.
Ezra dice here.
If you go for that reroll, if I hit a black damage side, I can kill.
I fortunately have that sound the alarm here, which prevents Sabine from dying there.
Mm. I think I might have made a misplay there. I decided to steal a resource instead of claiming, turning my other die to steal a resource, and then getting the first action next turn.
Yeah,
Especially with cheats, I think that would have been the smart play.
it does leave a lot of dice out there for you.
It is
And you're
true.
able to caution here.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think the caution play is a bit safer.
Hmm. Then again, if I start next turn, you don't have a chance to play your second chance. I just have to deal, uh, what is it, 3 damage?
Do you have an maybe if, I don't think you have an action cheat in hand though.
Right, so it's a risk of the draw. Either way, I do decide to just make use of as many dice and as many cards as possible, and I just flat play a mind probe over there on Ezra. Um,
So at this point, things are looking pretty rough for Sabine here. I really need to get that kill onto Rey, but at the same time, a Ezra with mind probe, hold out, force throw is still pretty scary. And
especially on that battlefield.
I'm just I'm like, man, I just gotta get damage out here. I have an X8 in the graveyard, which I think I discarded before drawing for my turn. Which my whole plan was to, you know, play the X8, roll in, and hopefully hit a lot of damage here. That's the kind of the problem with these Django Veers type decks. Is a lot of times you're just so reliant on hitting damage when you need it.
Hmm.
So I go for the holdout blaster because Sabine's probably gonna die here this turn, and I want those 2 redeploys. Um,
It's like you do
this
roll quite well.
I think I hit 6 damage here, and that's enough to kill Rey.
Sad day for me.
I'm feeling a lot better about my chances now because not only did I hit that damage, but I also hit a resource,
Hmm.
and I can get that resource and redeploy, or sorry, overwrite for a second chance, and that's like kind of the game plan here.
Hmm. One thing worth noting is I do decide to keep the Force Throw instead of the DL44, because I have my Allies of Force in my hand, so I'm hoping to make use of that card. Um, One thing I will note is one way that Sabine Ezra can get around the inconsistency of die rolls is on the games where Ezra does provide a lot of resources. You do have the potential for that running interference, never tell me the odds play, which is always devastating. But against a deck like mine that's disrupting you, you can't always have enough
Right.
resources for that.
Finally, you don't roll that special on that fourth throw, and I'm feeling like my luck's changing here. I just killed Rey. I'm like getting back into this. I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be where I turn around this game.
Hmm. Unfortunately, I am showing that 3 damage that I need. So
You are, and so I believe you point that out to me. I think I was too excited. I was like, oh, you didn't roll a force throw. That I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. You have lethal on board. So I have to reevaluate my choices here. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have another sound the alarm, and I don't have
Lothcat, I believe.
Lothcat in hand.
So then you're really looking at, do I take the resource or the 1 damage?
Pretty much. Oh, wait, do I have a Lothcat? I do have a Lothcat. But I'm also thinking, do I Lothcat a Ezra die when you have Mind Probe showing? Because if I Lothcat, you can just claim and
Kill you,
kill me
anyways.
anyways.
So yeah, it is a tough choice. Because then you could look to gain value out of dice instead and save that Lothcat for a better
That's
moment.
true.
I think that it may, but maybe you do want to force me to claim here, because in that case you get to roll out Ezra with multiple rerolls, do a holdout blasters, and maybe deal something like 5 damage. Um,
Probably true. But you could also just re-roll as
mhm,
well. So I'd take the resource. I believe that puts me in a situation where I can second chance Ezra as well this turn.
mhm.
Um, and I definitely just want to put as much damage on the board as I can this rollout.
This is where that caution very early on in the game, where the only character that I had remaining was Rey's. So I
Mm-hmm.
just tossed 3 shields onto Ezra. That's coming in big here, just having the 10
And
health Ezra
it's
instead of
also
7.
where choosing your battlefield is coming into play huge. Being able to force throw 2 damage onto my character, um, and prevent yourself from taking that damage.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're in a really good spot to kind of just turtle up. Um, I don't have, like I said, this isn't a ramp deck. You're not really supposed to ramp out, but those games where you are able to really dominate, and you were able to get some really good steals with Ezra early, and really limited my resource options.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hitting those kind of You're getting that payback for doing all that work early in terms of resource control and your choice of battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
So really, good planning on your part, and you're seeing a lot of front load damage being outscaled in the late game
Mm-hmm.
right here.
Yeah, and even being able to deal enough pressure onto that Sabine to force you to play 2 second chances this game. The
Hmm
6 resources just sunk in the tube, in addition to all the resources that I have stolen. You go for some rerolls, hoping for some damage, not hitting those +2s that you're really hoping for. But yeah, at this point, I have my ally and double cross in my hand, so I am pretty excited about my next turn. I feel like with the 3 resources and those options, I'll have some good power plays, potentially just resolving Mind Probe special twice, even force throwing twice, or just resolving one of your own dice against you. Of course, you don't have the biggest dice right now, but it definitely is looking pretty solid. Solid for my deck.
Right now, I'm desperately trying to get more resources to get another damage die on the board. My deck doesn't really have too much control, and most of it is like Lothcat and Negotiate. And at this stage in the game, removing one of my like only character's dice left really kind of hurts my own damage. So I'm really just trying to get a quick kill here if possible. Let's see, you hit that Mind Probe special and the Ezra special, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to probably drop second chance here. Um, let's see, I believe I'm able to. Oh, I have electroshock too. I also have X8. So what I do here is I use the X8 first, so I make sure I don't get double disrupted here
Mm-hmm.
before playing the electroshock.
Definitely good use of the ambush there. I'm gonna go ahead and steal that one remaining resource. Um, it
So
is it is an interesting question though, because I really do want to push for damage and this game. So by rerolling, I could get more damage on those dice. But I mean, getting rid of your last resource gets rid of a lot of your removal options. When interference goes down, always an annoying card late game. Um, if you can ever get ahead, you can even like prevent you from rolling out in the first place.
yeah, I'm thinking if I play it and I can prevent you from rolling resolving dice, I can maybe get ahead here. Um, you roll into that force throw, and there's nothing I can do about it. So
Hero force throw. I has rolled a lot of specials this game, and I go ahead and my ally to keep it in my pool.
Now that's where stealing that resource really came in handy. So
Mm-hmm.
you're able to play that. And I think you have to decide what you want to do next year.
Mm-hmm. I go ahead and truce and then resolve that special. So I'm still sitting on 4 resources. And because I'm resolving specials, I go ahead and chain resolve to toss your other, um, your X8 die into the Ezra. Um, so it's looking pretty good for me. You decide to just go ahead and steal and resolve.
I'm trying to get ahead here now that I have running interference on the board. I'm thinking, okay, I can roll out before and then make you not roll out, which gives me a chance to maybe do some never tell me the odds plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my hope is I'm able to roll out um, and then never tell me the odds and make you not be able to roll out here
Mm-hmm.
or play a card.
Also allows for the potential of, by delaying me a turn, you can resolve some damage dice and then overwrite a die that you've already used with your second chance.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Unfortunately, I don't really get big damage. I mean, I do get a decent amount of 3, but definitely not what I was hoping for to get me back into this game.
mm-hmm.
Removing one of my dice just really kind of
Was
feel
pretty
bad.
lucky there.
Feel bad.
Electroshock is one of uh, the very few cards in the deck that are um, able to be used without your own dice in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
One of the standard weaknesses of a lot of hero decks is their removal does require removing your own character dice. So pretty lucky that I have that Electroshock.
It also does kind of highlight the strength of having a yellow character left at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to consistently have that electroshock be online most of the game.
And it's really actually neat how you can drop the force power specials on Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice and handy, as you saw there, being able to just drop the mind probe on Ezra when I knew that Rey was going to be dying. Very, very strong, oddly strong closing character. Got low HP, but 2 dice, with the +2 side randomly dealing a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
I go ahead and roll out here now that I finally have the option.
Right here, I'm just thinking, all right, I gotta survive this turn
Mm-hmm.
and get as much as I can out of my dice.
You did have to play that second chancer on your last action. So,
A force throw, man.
Force Throw is really good if you roll the specials. What can I say? Typically, uh, the deck can make up for Force Throw's inconsistency with Maz.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when you get a one-shot Maz on turn 1, you just kind of have to make up for it with your own luck. So,
Fortunately, I'm able to do a big play here with the double cross, resolving John's force throw to force throw his mind probe, which clears off his 2 best dice here.
mm-hmm.
Insane. I'm thinking, man, I'm happy you rolled that special for once because now you can't claim and mind probe me. You can't do anything. So I'm feeling really good about that this turn.
Double Cross, such an insane card. It's taken people a little bit of time before they realized how good it can be. The reversal on any die side, especially the specials that some dice have.
Unfortunately, you roll into 3 damage with Ezra here. And I'm like, man, I did all that and I still have to get rid of another dice? Jeez.
Mm-hmm. And then I just immediately decided to claim. Use the special, doesn't steal a resource, but it does just get the die out of the pool in case you can interact with it. Not really anything you could do, but...
Right. I go ahead and drop that second running interference and try to get a resource or a damage here. I get a disrupt again, which doesn't really do much against you.
Not when I have that many resources.
So, honestly, things aren't looking too good anymore. I thought I had a really good play with the double cross, but then I got pressured into more damage with the Ezra dice. So that Ezra dice coming in pretty clutch there too.
No damage was dealt to you that turn, but you didn't make any progress of your own.
Right.
Really, so.
And really, I'm just kind of on the back foot here. We're both with Ezra, except one of us has Mind Probe and Force Throw, and the other has just a couple blasters and second chance.
It is really interesting that in such an explosive matchup where the 2 decks really have these huge high-powered cheats, comes down to a really grindy matchup between the 2 Ezras.
Mm-hmm. Man, once again, that Force Throw, I'm just like, man, can I get a break here? At least it's not the Mind Probe, because I'm thinking Mind Probe pretty much seals the deal with the My Ally's the Force.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm trying to get as many cards out of my hand as possible, so that you can't claim for a lot of value. Um, and also removing a die is always good. So I just try to roll out and hope for the best here.
Mhm.
Hopefully not hitting that three.
But you hit it,
Mm.
and I do get a little bit confused here with math. I my ally to deal that 3 to Ezra talking the second chance, and I for some reason thought you still had 5 cards in your hand.
Well, that was why I played the DL
Mhm.
44 that turn, is so you couldn't. Um, so
So
I explained to you that I'm not going to die, and I think you choose to do something else here. Yep.
resolve the 3 for 1 on the X8. Um, so the force throw is still in the pool though because I my allied it. So there's a lot that I did wrong there because I thought the game was over. But in a friendly matchup where you're just really trying to test decks,
Yeah. At this
obviously you
point,
want to make sure you do it right.
I have a double cross on my hand, but unfortunately, I don't have the resources to use it. I think it would have at least kept me alive for one more turn.
Hmm.
But Mind Probe with Emperor's Throne Room is so good
Hmm.
that you could just roll in and claim. So there's nothing I can do to prevent it,
Hmm.
and you ultimately get me there. I think it really highlights the strength of how much burst damage you can see with Sabine Ezra.
Hmm.
You can get that turn one kill onto Maz, but also shows you the downside of a kind of an all-in damage deck with such low HP is that you don't really ramp well, especially if your opponent has like disrupt sides. They're more important because you want to utilize your dice for damage, not for resource ramp.
Hmm.
Whereas in the Rey Ezra Maz deck, you have a lot of dice that you just want to take resources
Hmm.
and let your upgrades do the work.
Hmm.
So ultimately, at the end, your upgrades kind of like were able to take you there, where my character dice kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Ramp decks, they really need to get a lot out of those upgrades that they get in play. Mind Probe and Force Throw being some
Hmm.
of the biggest damage point swings in the game. Only rivaled by cards like a U-Wing. Um, I mean, Mind Probe dealing 5, Force Throw potentially a 6-point swing on freeze. You throw in my ally there, and you can deal. I mean, it's an instant game winner if you just my ally for 10 damage
Hmm.
off the Mind Probe.
I do
Um,
want to highlight your decision to take the Emperor's Throne Room there at the beginning. Huge at the end of the game. Probably wasn't like the most easiest choice because obviously you want to kill Sabine early, and
mhm,
giving those extra shields over is like huge. But I
mhm.
think
I mean, the shields could have saved my Maz potentially. I
that's
believe you
true.
rolled 9, but if I'd
Mm.
tossed like both on Maz, she could have lived through that.
Yeah. But at the end of the game, I wasn't able to overcome the claiming for force throws or mind probes. So
Mhm.
getting that value out of it there, you know.
Yeah, I definitely think it is a really interesting matchup for the Rey Ezra Maz.
Hmm.
It's good in that you're really good against dice with high values, with force throw and double cross, but it's weak in that you cheat so often, and you also um, you use your resources quickly. Actually, you
Mm.
almost always start out with the plane from your graveyard, and yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it also highlighted a lot of how the errata affected the Sabine deck. There's a lot of times where it was a bit kind of clunky. I'd say is like rather than overriding playing an X8 overriding with holdout, rolling in, putting that X8 back out.
Hmm.
Now you have to kind of awkwardly roll discard to re-roll and then play it out.
Hmm.
So it
If you're ever low, you can't overwrite early.
right. There's always that inability to play second chance on that same turn
Mm-hmm.
that you cheat out with an overwrite. So um, definitely there's a lot more thought behind the deck, which is good. I think it also highlighted how the game's going a bit longer.
Hmm.
Even though you had a turn one kill, you were able to extend the game to I think that was maybe round five,
Something like that. The
something
Ezras
like
are
that.
there for a couple turns.
Yeah, they kind of slogged it out there at the end, but really great game here.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, going back to the overwrite rule, that also affects the Reyes or Maz a lot. You can't do any more of those cheat, activate Rey, get a reroll, or activate Maz off it as well. But yeah, good matchup.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if there's any plays you maybe wanted to do differently or you thought we could have done better. Definitely love to always hear your feedback. And as always, drop whatever other decks you'd like to see us play. We're definitely playing a bunch, and we want to hear what you guys want to see.
Yeah.
Um, sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, Destiny Council here. Peace.